beautiful souls out there. I hope you're able to get out in nature like Starlight was, and what a beautiful day. I know where I am, a lot of people look forward to days like this, so what a beautiful day to get out and get some exercise outside, get out in the sun. It's a breezy one out here, but I'm in here because it's too windy to make a video because the sound, a lot of times that affects the sound of the video. So anyway, I love you so much, and thank you for all of you who have been here from the beginning, in between, and maybe you just recently found me, discovered me somehow or another, and you are new to my YouTube channel. Thank you to all of you who subscribe, who watch my videos, who give me a thumbs up, or those of you, you, who leave me a message down below. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And can't leave out the ones who share my videos. I appreciate all of you. And thank you for the beautiful comments that I get. So you know who you are if you left a comment on my YouTube channel. Plus, don't forget the ones that push the notification bell so they don't miss any videos. And so anyway, I hope you're having an amazing day. I hope you're getting out in nature somewhere. And remember, be gentle with yourself. You don't need anybody's stamp approval, to be who you came here to be. So I love you so much. And also, if anyone would love to send any love donations to Starlight, Starlight would love to receive any love donations, and you can do that on my YouTube channel through my Cash App, and I will have that information here. Ping! There it is. And before I start this video, this new topic, hello, my name is Starlight. Welcome to my YouTube channel, and you can find me on YouTube, and that is at Starlight, and that is Kathy with a K Dingman. Plus, don't forget you can subscribe to my YouTube channel, plus give me a thumbs up, and you can also leave a message down below, beep, 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 and you can share my videos with your family, your friends. Don't forget to ring the notification bell, and you can check out my playlist. Plus, you can find me on Instagram at 1995 Starlight, or on Facebook, and that is Kathy with a K Dingman Starlight. All right, now today I'm kind of going back and forth, so I gotta pick eeny, meeny. No, we're not gonna do the eeny, meeny, miny, mo. So anyway, I guess I'm gonna go with this one here, is stop running away. Instead, do this. Many people out there are running away from things, and Starlight was one of those people. And I'm not saying that I don't get challenges. We all get challenges. The universe is always gonna, throw something our way, get us, we're like, so because that's how this works. I could say, hey, I'm doing great in that area, which I am, but you never know what the universe is going to throw your way. So you always have to be ready, for whatever God, the universe is going to throw your way, as far as, why are you running away? And what I mean by that, and like running away from things that you're afraid of. You're afraid of something, and you, instead of facing it, the challenges that come in your life, a lot of people, they either ignore it, they act like it never happened, and they just sit with it. They just sit with those things. And you gotta face your fears. You can't keep on running away from those things, because our imaginations, we actually create things in our imagination. Like Starlight's got a wild, crazy ass imagination like no other. I'm like, even when my brother was here, we had so much fun with our imaginations, like with creations and stuff like that. But our imagination can get the best of us. Things out there in the world. You might be afraid of something, and I'm trying to see what I have out here. It could start off like, I'm just going to describe like a little pea, little pea. Starlight haven't eaten peas in a long time, but it could start off like a little pea, you're afraid of something, And before you know it, that pea that you were, not that you're afraid of the pea, but the thing that you fear is just, it wasn't that big of a deal. But in time, and it doesn't take long, before you know it, you're super, now your imagination got the best of you. And now that little pea now is like the size of a basketball. And because our imagination can get the best of us, and we blow things out of proportion as far as what we are afraid of, or what, and really they're all tests, I'm telling you, everything that you're going through is a test. Like I made a video yesterday about your emotions, about not feeling loved. That's a test. You have to love yourself, even if nobody else reaches out to you. You have to learn to love yourself and accept every part of you, And so just like things that we could be afraid of is that we end up making it worse than really what it is, And when you're little, there's people, what? They don't enjoy life because they're afraid to do this, they're afraid to do that, they're afraid to go take a hike. Something could happen out in the woods with the animals. I could get lost. All these things. When I was younger, I'll tell you what, my imagination, I had a wild imagination even when I was growing up. The what ifs, I was like, I wanted to do, I love going out in the woods. And so I learned as a young child, my parents could not believe Starlight, where was Starlight? Out in the middle of nowhere. There was land and land and land. Where we lived, it was a beautiful place to live. As far as the land goes, property and all that stuff, and other people's fields and land all around us. You could go all day to get from my house, and it would take all day. And then before I'm like, where am I? And I didn't even care because that was the greatest thing as a child was the land. I might have gone through a lot as a child, being grown up, but the land was my escape. That was my freedom. That was like, man, I'm just going to go out here and explore, check this out. There's a lot of cool things out in the land that I could discover, animals and all this stuff. And, but I had to break free from being afraid, being out by myself. So my brothers and I, we were always out. I used to follow my brothers all the time. Then there was a point in time, and I am not afraid of the dark. Are you afraid of the dark? Do you avoid everything but not to be in the dark? Ooh, it's dark. You might be that person. And I really don't, like little kids, there's a lot of parents that might have like a night light for their child. And after a while, it's good to kind of wean them off of the night light, get them used to the dark. It's okay. They got to feel safe in their bedroom. You don't want to have like, hey, if the light is off, that there's no monster, is there a monster under the bed? Well, I have to say there might be spirits sometimes, spirits or ghosts and stuff like that. But you don't want to, be so afraid that you don't enjoy the life that you're living. A lot of people, they run away from situations and, it's a test. They run away from people, instead of facing the problem that they're dealing with. They can grow through it by facing those people and saying what they really want to say to them instead of running away from it. Instead of running away, hey, you know what? I want to say something, but I'm afraid because I don't know how they're going to react or respond or whatever. And you gotta, if you got something to say to somebody, don't be afraid. Build yourself up, get yourself ready, for that, and face your fears. Not too long ago, I did put it on one of my videos recently where I had a man that got in my face. He was a Methodist church is the church this group came from, and I went to just go take a shower. And this man was harassing me. I don't think he went through training as far as how to treat people when, people are coming off the street. You don't know what their background is, They got all kinds of crazy stories that they've gone through. And how they ended up being homeless, living on the street. Even like with Starlight, I might not live on the street, but I lived hell. I know what hell is like, you know? So this man didn't know me, and he got in my face, and he did it in such a way that nobody knew what he did. And he told me face to face, get out of my face. And you know what? I couldn't sleep. All I could think of is how threatened I felt by this man treat me like that. And he did it in such a way that he said it loud enough for me to hear, but then he tried to twist everything by acting like I had a piece of hair in my mouth. So he had a cover up, he thought he had a cover up, to say, hey, no, I just said, like she had a piece of hair in her mouth. Dude, blank you, that's not what was going on. So in that situation, like I said before, I could have stayed quiet. But you know what? I ended up having a dream because of this man, and it brought a lot of triggers up because of my past. It brought up so many things I didn't even realize, I have an issue with church people because of where I came from, and this is a church group that's supposed to be acting like Christians that, this man was not, he's a wolf. He was no Christian, And you know what? I did the right thing. I made the phone call the next day. I couldn't sleep. It bothered me all day. It bothered me through the night. And the next morning, I just wanted to do the right thing. And I did. By facing this, not letting this man do this to other people by being rude to them and harassing people that don't deserve it. And so I could have just acted like it never happened and gone on my merry way, but my intuition, everything about me would not let me do that. So we gotta, it's nerve-wracking to make a phone call like that and not knowing how people are gonna respond to me when I make a phone call. But you know what? That's how we can fix things in the world, is by not running away from these things, not running away from people. There's times that you need to keep yourself safe, yes. You always want to make sure other people are around, when you're dealing with certain people. You don't want to, I had to learn that the hard way when I was younger, is sexual harassment. You wouldn't want to go and confront that person when nobody's around, which Starlight went through that even at the church. Sexual harassment at the church. So, anything can happen to you at any given moment in time. So that's why you got to be ready to face anything and not to run away. There's women, I'm so proud of them, is like the stuff that's going on with the Hollywood, the Epstein files or whatever, where women went through crap with these people. Who knows what they went through, But you know what? Now it's getting out there. Now these people then, that were guilty of being involved in this, they can be responsible for the actions that they did, whatever they did, whoever was involved. So it takes a lot of bravery for these women to put themselves out there, because they were so young when these things happened to them. So I'm really proud of those people because if they never spoke up, this would happen to other, young girls or even boys, to go through stuff that they really shouldn't have to go through. So stop running away from those things that you fear. Like when we had COVID, they were putting fear out there through the media, getting people afraid, so they can control you. That was it was a control thing. I'll tell you what, when I had my own business, the people that I thought were my family that I worked for, it's like my job was at risk of losing everything if I didn't conform to what they wanted me to do. This is my body. Don't let other people control you and tell you what to do. I could have just said, yeah, let me just do whatever you want me to do, because, I talked to a lot of people on this journey. A lot of people, they said, hey, I had to take the injection. I was going to lose my job. And some of you might have gone through that yourself. But Starlight was like, no, you know what? I am not, this is my body. I don't know what's in that injection. So don't run away, from facing things and say, no, you know what? I'm going to stand up for myself, and I'm going to do what I want to do. I'm not going to run away from things in my life, I'm going to face them on. Like I had a dream not too long ago where the guy that was being harassing me to just go take a shower, I had a dream. And the dream was a wolf. And I was out in the woods and this wolf was trying to attack me. And he walked by and then he came back through again. And he was like ready to, wanted a piece of Starlight. I'm not afraid of animals, but when it comes to a dream, there's times that Starlight even runs away, like a bear in a dream. I've actually been really close to a bear in my dream where I wasn't afraid of the bear. So when you're even in your dream state, if you have a dream like of animals and it scares you and you have a dream and you run away, it's telling you that you're not facing something in your reality. And whatever's going on in your life, you'll figure, I didn't, I was not afraid of that man when I was at it took a lot of guts for me to get out of I opened up the shower door because they wanted to have me hurry up and get out. They didn't tell me how many minutes I had. I opened up the door with just my bra on and my pants on. I didn't even get my shirt on. My hair wasn't even dried. And I was facing my fear. They didn't know what they were doing, but don't treat me like this. I'm not going to have people do this anymore. So there's people in my life right now, I could be afraid of them, but no, what I do is I confront them. I tell them, hey, I see what you're doing. So you got to really be careful. We're always going to be tested out in the world. Instead of running away from things, even with the law, there's many times, a lot of people do this. You're being tested. We're in the matrix. We're in the stimulation. So all these things are testing you. Are you going to do the right thing, or are you going to run away and just, like a dog, with his tail between his legs and just take off? Even when if there's something going on in your life and the law, the law enforcement people, they are actors. I'll tell you what, they are actors and actresses. Even the ambulance people, the doctors, they are all a bunch of actors and actresses. I've watched this stuff. I've studied these things in my life and my own reality of things that I've gone through. They act. They deal with people so much. They want to feel you out. And, they will say shit to you to scare the blank out of you with the officers. They will. They want to test you to see really who you are. What type are they dealing with? Are they dealing with somebody that's got, spirits in them? So I have been tested when it comes to officers. Holy shit. Where my car would have gotten towed away. They even called up the tow truck, and the tow truck showed up. They were going to, I'll talk about praying. I've gone through a lot on this journey here, so I don't really care what people think. They don't understand that I don't answer to man. I answer to God. There's no escaping where I am. A lot of people might think, Starlight, just go get a job. Go get a job. I know that's not what God wants. So if I went to go and do something that goes totally against what God wants me, I'll tell you what, I think things are rough right now. Holy shit. It ain't going to get any better. It's just going to put me right back where I belong, where God wants me. So I love God. This is what I am here for, is to be of service so I'm right where I am, where I belong. So don't be afraid of the law enforcers out there. When you didn't do nothing wrong or you're dealing with some stuff, they're going to test you. They are actors. They are actors. They are professionals at doing this stuff, especially the ones that's been doing it for a long time. It's no joke. They will pretend. They will say stuff to, reverse psychology and all this stuff to see how you're going to, see how you're going to respond. They've been testing people so many times, different types of people. They know what they're doing, at least the ones that have been doing this for a long time. So don't be afraid. Face your fears. Stop running away. Instead, face it. face these things, don't run away, stop running away. Even your parents or people in your life, don't run away. Face the things that, that if they're doing stuff to you, because if you don't face this stuff now, the stuff that you're dealing with right now, you could be going through stuff and you're like, yeah, forget it. I'm not, I'm just going to let it slide. I'm going to let that slide too. I'm going to let that slide too. I'm going to let that slide. Guess what? You didn't learn the lesson. You're going to repeat it and repeat it and repeat it and repeat it. You know what? You don't face this right now, the universe is going to give you something else. So you're better off just dealing with this and not letting fear take get the best of you. Instead, face these things head on instead of running away and act like it never happened. Because you don't face it now, God is going to give you something else that you gotta deal with. The quicker you deal with this stuff and just, what, you'll be like, oh, man, I tell you, we are in a matrix. We are in a simulation. This is a big Hollywood movie, the biggest ass movie ever created. We're in it. Just act like you're an actor and you're an actress, All this stuff is all set up. It's all just to trip you up. And in so many ways, you could be afraid and it could, you're still going to have to deal with it. So you might as well just face it and say, okay, this is a test. I'm just being tested right now. Just, if you think of this way all the time, okay, this is a test. Okay. I was tested today big time by somebody, And I caught myself. And I said, hey, good try. Good try. That was a test. They tried to test me. I could have reacted or responded the wrong way, but I didn't. I was able to turn that baby around and say, nah, that ain't happening because this is a test. I get it. It's a test. So if you think of everything when you're going through anything that you're going through, got car problems, it's a test. How's it a test, Starlight? Are you going to let fear control you and think, oh man, I'm going to lose everything because of my car. I'm going to, that's how, and then it's like, and then it just keeps on, like a domino effect, before you know it, now you're, and you got to be careful because your thoughts are so powerful. What you say is powerful. So we're being tested all the time, everywhere you go. All kinds of things that you do or what people do or how what people say to you. Your family members could say something crazy to you. Are you going to run away from them? Or are you going to face them? Because I'll tell you what, when you learn to face these fears that you think that, you can't deal with, that you don't want to deal with, like I said, there's going to be plenty more shit coming your way, and when you learn to face these things and not run away from it, don't worry, there's going to be another challenge. And it's going to be bigger. So it's only preparing you and helping you to get stronger each time to say, this is another test right here. Okay. So, okay. And you won't be so stressed out worrying about all this stuff because now you understand that this is another freaking test. You got to be kidding me. How can I handle this without letting it get the best of me? You got to revert. A lot of times you got to reverse it. Say, no, I'm not going to act like I normally. I'm not going to respond the way I normally would. No, I see that it's a test. It's a test. Now, how can I, depending on what your situation is. So anyway, I love you so much. I'm telling you, and that's why it's so important to watch these videos. You never know what I got in these videos. And so I love you so much. You're being tested all the time. So you can do this. You can pass these tests. Say, you know what? It's an acting thing. Okay, I'm in this game of life here, and I'm just being tested. You got an audience watching you, and they're just watching to see what you're gonna do, how you're gonna react, how you're gonna respond. Are you gonna do the right thing? Are you gonna, And you got, okay, I got it now. All right, I love you. So you got to really be wise and It's just a test. And I love you so much. And you can do this. Rethink how I'll tell you what, you feel like, oh my, she was right. It was just a test. I feel so wonderful now because I didn't do what I normally would do. I did the opposite of what I normally would do. And now I realize it wasn't that bad. I was making it so big. It wasn't that really bad at all. It was just a test. Some of you might think I'm nuts. No, I'm just waking up. So anyway, I love you so much. This is Starlight. Namaste. This is Starlight, love, light, and peace. Thank you for watching my video. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Plus, give me a thumbs up. And you can leave me a message down below. Beep, beep, beep. Plus, you could share my videos with your family or friends. And don't forget the notification bell. And check out my playlist. And you can also find me on Instagram at 1995 Starlight or on Facebook, and that is Kathy with a K, Dingman Starlight. Thank you for watching. This is Starlight. Namaste. This is Starlight, love, light, and peace.